Ekev. That's the name of this week's Torah portion. And in it can be found one of the most famous, ubiquitous phrases that is repeated time and again. Lo al alechem levado yechia adam. Translated is, not by bread alone does man live. So what does the phrase mean? Not by bread alone. It's nice to have asparagus. It's nice to have meat. It's nice to have nuts. It's nice to have bananas. Not by bread alone is life sustained. But that's not the meaning of the phrase, because one needs to look at the other half of that phrase to understand what the meaning contextually is. Not by bread alone does man live, but by the word of God, is how the verse is concluded. What does by the word of God mean? Well, on a very simplistic level, God creates the world with words. Let there be light, let there be ocean, let there be a firmament, let there be animals. That with words, God crafts the universe in which we live. Let's dig deeper. It also is the underpinning for most blessings that we will utter during the course of a day or a life. This past week, I confronted a bunch of people with the question, or should I say the conundrum, what do you call a person who eats or drinks something without a blessing? After a bunch of hemming and hawing and guesses, I told them the answer is a thief. A thief is a person who takes from the world without giving back any thought of gratitude for what we've taken. And the usual phrase that we say when we eat a cracker, when we eat something that's non-bread, is shehakol nihiyeh bivaro, which harkens back to what we're talking about right now, that God has crafted everything in the world according to his word. Shehakol, everything, nihiyeh is bidvaro, is as his word created. That everything ultimately goes back to God, and that our responsibility is to understand that we live in a world, in a sense, that is gifted to us, but not one that is simply gifted to us without acknowledgement of where it comes from. Here's a different kind of question that we might want to consider. What do you call somebody to whom you give a gift that does not bother to say thank you for that which you gave us? Well, it's an ingrate. And somebody who is not grateful is probably somebody that you're not going to want to give a whole lot of gifts to in the future, because we don't like people that are not grateful. We like people that accept what we give them and acknowledge the fact that we've gone out of our way to give something that is meaningful to them and perhaps even to us. Shehakol nihiyeh bidvaro is that phrase which begins, by the way, blessed art thou, Lord of the God, King of the universe. Shehakol nihiyeh bidvaro, that everything is crafted according to his word. Words are the way that we fashion a society, right? We have the 10 utterances, also known as the 10 commandments. Those are words. We have words that are found throughout the entire Bible that give meaning and structures to civilization as well as to our individual lives. It's words that give our life a sense of meaning and a buoyancy to society as a whole. But there's more, and there's something even deeper than this. When you eat a cracker, when you eat a banana, when you eat whatever it is that you're eating, and you take the time to say, thank you for this gift, whatever the appropriate blessing might be. And even thank you for this gift is better than simply stuffing it in your mouth. Where does the food come from? There's an old story told about one of the great Musar rabbis, Rabbi Salanter, who went to Paris and ordered simply a glass of water. He was given the glass of water, and at the end of drinking the water, he was presented with a bill that came to 50 francs. He turned to the waiter and says, "Why 50 francs? This is water." He said, "Well, you understand it is water and it's in a glass and I served it to you. And we have all these waiters, the employee of the restaurant, and further understand that those musicians over there, they have to be paid. And the person who actually got the water and cleaned the glass, they require a payment. The view, the vista that you're looking out over this beautiful Seine River, that doesn't come cheap either. And all of the schlepping that was required in order to make this restaurant as beautiful as it is, all of those things require payment." And Israel Salanter, according to the story, paid the bill, no longer grudgingly, and even left a tip. Because he understood, just like Shehakol nihiyeh bidvaro, everything does not necessarily belong to us, that we have to accept what is given to us with a sense of gratitude is the underlying feature again, of being most humane. So here's a thought. The next time you eat a cracker, the next time you eat something, and you do say thank you for the gift, I want you to remember this. Let's just take the example of a cracker, shall we? So that cracker came from where? That cracker came from a package. That package had to come from some factory that managed the packaging and then had to get that packaging from somewhere because it's all made out of fiber. And then the individual components within the fiber package, the plastic wrap that the cracker was in, that had to be manufactured. And forget about that. Let's talk about the cracker. The cracker itself comes from flour. The flour grew from the ground. A farmer had to grow that wheat that was ultimately ground into flour, and that flour had to be baked, and that flour had to be carefully calibrated so as to come out of the flat, tasty bread that you put into your mouth. Shakol niyed bivaro, that everything has meaning and everything ultimately is a gift to us. And maybe this singular phrase from the Torah, Lo ala lechem levado yechia adam, not by bread alone does a person live, but by the word of God. Maybe that simple acknowledgement of every breath that we take, everything that we put in our mouth, every step that we take in our life is a gift. That, by the way, is a religious individual.